Hello, we're Team 26 and we're going to present on the topic of hip-hop pedagogies in Brazil, unveiling educational trends. But before jumping right into our topic, we need to give you a little bit of context on the Brazilian education system. So, background. After the first mandate of President Lula, the Brazilian education system has expanded significantly. That happened by the implementation of racial and social quotas as factors for admission in universities. And that happened as a way to democratize higher education and educational equity throughout the country. And some of our project overview is that we want to understand more about these policy implications in the Brazilian education system and kind of understand more about the relationship between university expansions and high school completion rates, and also alongside with educational attainment by race.
Right. So we're working with a data set that has over 14 gigabytes of data that covers from years 2007 to 2018, and it covers student factors such as their race, the sex, the special needs indicator, the dependency of their school, whether that be through like the municipal, state, federal, or private level, and also the grade level of the student.
Some of the main points that we explored were that regardless of political affiliation or implementation of social quotas law, there was a steady rate in Southeast Brazil, which is inherently one of the richest states, like São Paulo and Rio de Janeiro, while the North and Northeast were most deeply affected by those who implemented the social quotas law. Another important trend is that 17.5 million, which was approximately 44% of students, repeated at least one grade from 2008 to 2017, and those patterns were very prominent per region of influence. So we divided the country into 5 different regions and explored that in that way. Other 2 important topics were that the law of quotas was shown to indeed improve access to higher education for non-white students. And most responses in the survey we implemented were from state-dependent schools and also middle schoolers. So just looking at this graphic we see the trends over the years. We can see what I talked about with the Southeast being steady, and based on political affiliation, the North and the Northeast states having more or less implementation and the enrollment of students in those higher level universities due to the social quotas law. One important trend that we saw when looking at the graphs was that in 2016, when Michel Temer, which was the interim president of Brazil, took charge, a lot of those states, especially in the north and also south of Brazil, took a flat, which meant that there was no change because of the lack of implementation of the law of quotas policy. And subsequently, what happened was there was strong affiliation towards the North and Northeastern states during the PT government, and not so much when there was not.
Right, so we also saw an increase in non-white students enrolled in education throughout the years that the policy was implemented. As you can see by the graphic, how throughout Brazil and the States, it gradually goes towards warmer colors, which indicates a greater amount of percent non-white enrolled in education.
And those graphs just show what I talked about, the political trends. You can see in the bottom each of the presidents and their mandate term, and then compare them to the North and South states to look at the trends for 4 states in the North and 3 states in the South.
So in conclusion, we saw that 43.8% of the students repeated at least one grade from 2008 to 2017. Mostly of the students were Black, brown, showing educational and racial disparities in education. And also we saw steady rates in Southeast Brazil and North and Northeast areas, depending on the political and policy administration. We saw an improved access to education for non-white students, And we need to have more research because there are other external factors to understand more about most of this data. So like socioeconomic status, other factors like structural racism and school infrastructure and security. They may play significant roles when trying to understand most of this data. So we need further research to understand more of that.